Have you ever asked yourself what happens with funeral costs when someone passes away? The average funeral today costs between $7,000 and $12,000, and that is an expense that most families are just completely unprepared to deal with. I'm going to discuss what funeral final expense is, what it covers, and how it works. Final expense is actually a small whole life insurance policy. This Instead of leaving those bills for your family to figure out, final expense leaves a cash payout to address all of those things. The family to figure out we'll cross that bridge when we come to it kind of mentality. The truth is, funerals can become pretty expensive, getting upwards of $9,000 very quickly. Now, these policies generally range from anywhere from five up to $45,000 to $50,000, and they're typically much easier for the average covered person to qualify for. They typically require no medical exam, just a simple medical questionnaire, and typically coverage is approved very quickly. Of different technology such as simplified issue, guaranteed coverage, and graded coverage. Now, I've designed this whole channel to answer all of those questions. This would be a good time to subscribe to this channel and start asking questions. Type those questions into the YouTube search bar, and odds are my videos are going to come up answering those questions. If you have a question that you cannot find the answer to on my channel, just ask it in the comments and I will most likely make a video answering that question. I read all of the comments. Final expense is not a prepaid funeral plan. A prepaid funeral plan is attached to that funeral home. And trust me, they're going to make sure you spend all of that on a funeral. It can't be used for anything else. Now, a final expense life insurance policy is exactly that, a life insurance policy. They're going to pay out a lump sum to the beneficiary. If you buy a $20,000 policy, they're going to get a $20,000 lump sum. Okay, now that can be spent on anything that the beneficiary needs at that time. Maybe you need to help a loved one make a trip from a different state. That's fine. You can spend that money that way. If you're just beginning your research, this channel is a good place to do that. You need to understand what policies exist, how they're structured, and for instance, can you get a living benefit, an accelerated benefit? That means you can use some of that money before the covered person leaves us. So if you need help paying for in-home nursing, you can have access to those funds earlier. You just need to get a diagnosis that they have 12 months remaining, and you can have access to those funds before they leave. If these answers were helpful, my next video, which I highly recommend you watch, will be something along the lines of the complete beginner's guide to final expense insurance.